and Gauteng in particular. This is largely due to the dynamic geo-profile of our province, which, despite being the smallest by land mass, is the largest by population. The dynamic and the diverse population of Gauteng and industrial province, which particular challenges, makes it a especially critical province for the ANC and the future of South Africa broadly. It is on this basis that the rebuilding and strengthening of the ANC as the organization in Gauteng, both at the province and the regional level, is imperative and is necessity. The PEC has resolved to prioritize rebuilding of the organization with specific focus on the basic unit of our branch. The organization will be implementing various mechanisms to facilitate recruitment in our communities, including impactful drives and recruitment campaigns. But we also recognize that while recruitment will ensure a quantitative improvement, there is also a need to prioritize quality aspects. In this regard, the PEC also resolves to prioritize political education in the organization at the branch, the regional and the provincial level. With regards to the latter, the preparations for the extended PEC meeting to conduct political education is underway. The organization recognizes such political education must be multidisciplinary and multisectoral in its orientation. Thus, all stakeholders, including the private sector, academia, trade union sectors, and civic society, will be engaged to make presentations to the PEC in order to ensure that broader presentations that will inform the work of the organization. With regards to these sectors as critical components to the establishment and development of the province, and we see them as critical partners to quest the asset and to assert the position of Gauteng as a political economic force in the country and in the continent at large. The ANC in Gauteng recognized the community level activism is a key component in rebuilding the organization. This is a historical position of the ANC, which also affirms the importance of establishing of organs of mass power, and of the ANC members being active, particularly in these organs. These includes, but not limited to, churches, youth structures, community policing forums, township businesses, sports clubs, and other institutions. Our community participation in these institutions and an ANC that is close to the people and must necessitate being engaged in activism. Furthermore, we believe that the ANC can reclaim the hearts and the minds of the historical voters as well as winning the new voters, who may be dejected by some developments for which the organization takes full responsibility. The ANC has also adopted monitoring and evaluation strategy that will immediately take the acceleration to establishment of the monitoring and evaluation unit within the provincial structures. This unit will help us with the effective resource allocation, asserting and assessing and areas of improvement, decision-making, and supporting the organizational development and learning. The Lekgotla welcomes the 14 billion investment in Gauteng by various companies. This reaffirms Gauteng as the economic hub of South Africa. Amongst these companies that invested in Gauteng is AXA with 6 billion, Vodacom with 3 billion, Citibank with 1.4 billion in the Vaal economic zone. The Lekgotla also received an update on the Limpopo train speed and Gauteng, between Gauteng and Limpopo. The Limpopo-Gauteng speed is variably study phase, while Gauteng government will spend 120 billion on Gauteng to Soweto and four ways, Mamelodi, Atteridgeville, Lenasia, and Springs. The Lekgotla also welcomes the 1.1 billion from skills funds and 8 billion from UIF to train and reskill 500,000 unemployed residents in Gauteng. The Lekgotla appreciated the great focus of job creation as it is in line with the priority of priority number one in 2024 ANC manifesto. The meeting also welcomes the creation of land invasion monitoring and evaluation inspection tool that will prevent land invasion in Gauteng. This is the first in our country. The Lekgotla also mandated government to work with other spheres of government to deal with crime, energy, hostel redevelopment, SEZs, water, and the CBD invasions. The PEC Lekgotla concluded with cautioning ANC members and leaders in branches and regions and in province about the public conduct. It is of great concern that some leaders of the organization constantly ridicule the decisions of the design structures of the organization. There is no question that the ANC has established history and culture of democracy, and that there are various platforms and mechanisms in place for members to air grievances and concerns internally, where they can meaningfully address using public platform to do and be disruptive and undermine the efforts of the organization to strengthen its own democratic practices, which is really enforcing on issues of discipline. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair.
Thank you so much, Provincial Secretary, Comrade Lionel T.K. Mnisa.
Okay, Hendrik.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our approach in a nutshell. We've accepted defeat, and we don't want to sugarcoat it. We have to accept it the way it is. And we committed ourselves to say society must see a new changed ANC, so that society, when it sees us next time, they must confidently say, shame. After they've lost elections, they're starting to behave, to do things correctly. And it's within that context that we then developed a mechanism to go and visit all our branches instantly. You will see in the next coming weeks, we'll be crisscrossing our province to ensure all the branches of the ANC are given an opportunity to also deposit their ideas on these matters. We are also taking a very tough stand on the capacity of the state to deliver services. We really believe that that's the front line that has not been given the necessary attention, and in the process, it has compromised us on many aspects, because this is the sector or the level of government that is assigned the task to render services to our communities. And we felt that we need to zero in there and provide the necessary guidance that is needed. Obviously influenced by the lifestyle audits that we've received from the Special Investigations Unit, the SIU, which was presented to me, which was contained in the State of the Province address. We're going through necessary legal advices to determine how best to handle this report. Lastly, which is very, very important, is for us to bring order, stability, and sanity in our province, in terms of crime, in terms of crushing lawlessness and vandalism, and installing law and order in our province. The adoption by the Lekgotla of the geo system that monitors land invasion in our province, we really believe that is a step forward, because we've been seeing a mushrooming of new informal settlement literally every day. But we didn't have the capacity to determine where these new informal settlements are, who's behind them, and when are they planned, and how people are invading that land. With this system, we'll be in a position instantly know when a land is being invaded, and will then unleash our resources, because then invasion is affecting our provincial pairs, because immediately people are there. You must provide water, you must provide all the necessary services that are needed, and thus creating problems. Obviously, we took stock on the political developments, and some of you covered the events, the departure of the Deputy President of the EFF. We take note that today in our province, CIC will be addressing ground forces of the EFF. We had also have taken note of developments taking place within MK Party. But our approach as the Lekgotla was not to concentrate on those activities, but focus on what we call the re-establishment of segments that have supported the ANC since its establishment. Traditional leaders, churches, rural people, social movement, just like the old UDF type of affiliation. We really believe we need to reactivate that. And we'll be discussing with various labor movements, women movement, business movement, and social movement that has been established post-1994 that have not taken a political posture to affiliate to a certain political party. We really believe to persuade them to be part of the broad Congress movement will assist us to claw back and recover lost ground, so that all these issues can really assist the ANC to prepare for the forthcoming local government elections. The Lekgotla also congratulated the new executive mayor of Johannesburg, Comrade Dada Morer. We also observed developments that are taking place in Tshwane. You will recall that in 2021, during the local government elections, the ANC lost all 3 metros, and we politely took our stand in the opposition benches. It is only when those governments that were established started to collapse that the ANC was requested to step in. From that period to date, 2 of the metros that we lost are now back at the helm, where the ANC is at the helm of those 2 municipalities. There is a huge chance that can happen in Tshwane in the next few weeks, but we are very careful in entering in some of these coalition governments. So we are indeed discussing with all various political parties. But there has been a huge surge from various political parties in Tshwane who wants the ANC to come back to rescue Tshwane. Obviously, it's an opportunity that we are willing to work around, but we want to consult our national leadership, because there are various dynamics in Tshwane that we have to be sensitive to relationship that has been established with national government as well. So we need to look at that posture and consult as broadly as possible. And then on the basis of that, we'll be in a position to take decisions that will be in the best interest of the citizens of Tshwane, most importantly, citizens of Gauteng. And that's how the Lekgotla assessed all these issues. So if there are questions that you want to ask the Provincial Secretary in particular, please feel free to do so.
In particular,
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
No, shoot, with no intention to kill.
Junior Commander from Newsroom Africa. This one is directed to you, Chairperson.
Is it?
You speak about Tshwane and how some of the changes that could happen, they might affect the government of national unity at a national level. Is this something that you've engaged the national leadership of the ANC on? And are you hesitant to then make those changes in Tshwane because of the agreement that's at the national level? Thank you.
Afternoon, Alpha Ramushana here from Eyewitness News. My question is a bit aligned to Junior's question. It has to do with Tshwane. You managed to convince, or actually I say managed to come to you, and you formulated an agreement. You are working together in a way in Joburg now. You don't have the numbers in Tshwane to form government, as we've seen before, it's very, very thin or slim in Tshwane. Do you think you'll be able to convince them to share a bed with you in Tshwane and leave the agreement with the DA, which stands at the moment? Thank you.
Chairperson, do you anticipate pushback from National? I mean, Action SA says if you give them the speaker position in Tshwane, they're willing to talk to you, they'll open their hands to sharing power with you there. But do you anticipate pushback from National? And if that happens, what will be your next move? And secondly, just to the Secretary, he spoke about reclaiming full voters, for which the organization takes full responsibility, but you mentioned an element of monitoring and evaluation of areas of improvement. So when will that take place? What's the scope? What will be the criteria as well in relation to this particular process? Thanks.
Mashudu from the start, did in any way Lekgotla discuss the issue of the GNU or towing the line of what National is doing after these reports rumoring around that the ANC in Gauteng might just get disbanded? How true is that? Was there any discussion in towing the line of the GNU?
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Sisanda.
Oh, jumpy, no. You couldn't wait, Sisanda.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see you. My name is Sisanda. My name is Sisanda. I'm from the Sunday Times. I think we take stock of your electoral misfortunes quite well, but we are dealing with the reality that the ANC doesn't really have a good track record of regaining lost ground. Noting your optimism to change things around, does this trajectory concern you at all? Thank you very much. And I'm covered by my colleagues on this one. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sisanda.
Mr. Chimama from the SABC. I'm asking a couple of these questions against the backdrop that a lot of people don't know the difference between provincial and local responsibilities. So people in Gauteng have been suffering from, in places like Soweto, this load reduction. People for 5 to 8 hours not having, on a daily basis, electricity. You have a lot of water, people who don't have access to water. You have a lot of water leaks, people getting really huge water bills. There's this electricity surcharge. You're talking about land invasion and an inspection tool. The truth of the matter is people actually take land because they want to be close to communities and where they work. From a diagnostic point of view, what are you doing to actually make sure that people don't actually have to grab land, but you provide them with places in terms of your kind of spatial, the way you're spacing things out of the housing and stuff like that? Because you're saying this, because you're saying you're taking a tough stance in service delivery, but people in Gauteng are actually suffering water, electricity, places to stay. That's the truth of the matter, outside the politics.
Okay.
Lisa Gatandwa, Times Live. Some of the questions that I had have already been asked, but just 3 questions. Let me start with what Lucy is asking about in terms of the tough stance on capacity to deliver services. You speak of lifestyle audits, but in terms of KPAs for your executive, are you looking at that as well? There's been talks about KPAs in terms of national, but they've never materialized. Is this something that you are looking strongly to building in your own executive? And then, Nobala, you speak about public conduct. I'm assuming that when we think about public conduct, we think about the Maile versus ANC Youth League president debacle. But Times Live reported just a couple of weeks ago about the dissatisfaction from your region, Sedibeng, West Rand, and Tshwane, about the executive committee. I think it was more Sedibeng and West Rand, about the composition of the chair's executive, and that they were not, didn't find representation there. And West Rand was even arguing that they were one of the most, the best performing in the province, and yet they did it. I think you are. I don't think that you agree with what I just said. But what does that mean? Was this part of the conversation? Did you have a conversation about that? And Chair, did you have a conversation with the regional leadership about this issue? And I think it was a couple of months ago after the elections when the mayor of Ekurhuleni fired Mr. Dunga in his executive. And the EFF was threatening to pull out of every coalition arrangement that they have with you. Has there been discussions around Mr. Dunga's position and in terms of the EFF and your relationship going forward, especially given that you have ambitions of controlling Tshwane?
From UFM, thank you. On this question of immigration, you link it directly, I mean the informal settlements, land grabbing, you link it directly to crime. A lot of people, those are lay people. When you talk of a shared they automatically think that is what is driving up crime stats. And in your assessment of the outcome of the result, you seem to be prescribing recruitment of new members, and at no stage have we heard of the ANC losing membership. In fact, you performed a lot better even when you were way below 1 million members. So I'm trying to find out how far you went. Have you, because there's a school of thought that says you started losing support in 2009, where they are citing the Zuma effect, a person who at the time was possibly facing corruption charges leading your campaign. That's where, in fact, the drop started. And now there were other issues that, again, the Zuma effect that now is in competition as your former leader. Others are saying the EFF lost support because of its stance on immigration, and we know the ANC has not spoken much on immigration. And this particular province of Gauteng carries a larger number of the immigrants, both legal ones and illegal ones. Do you think that perhaps there's national issues that would have compromised the ANC in Gauteng in this particular election?
Yeah, maybe let me start, Chair. I want to start with the Tshwane issue because we are leading the negotiations. This notion that says there is a problem between this province and national does not exist. And the province and national has been speaking on this matter a number of times. The national office from time to time receives reports from the provincial sector of the ANC on the development of negotiations. We have never at any point went against any decision of national. The framework is very clear. It doesn't say work with this party or that party. It says engage all parties. And we follow that framework to the latter. When we formed the provincial government of unity, when we formed the government that you say in Johannesburg, so including in Tshwane, they are clear of where we are and the negotiations as they are happening. It's led by Comrade David Makura, who are also engaging the Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. So there are no contradictions. And there's no fear of this party or that party. We are speaking to all parties after we have agreed on what should happen in Tshwane, because it is not only about the ANC, but about the citizens of Tshwane. We must also be very clear that we don't have an obsession, but we have an obsession about the services that are not going to our people. Once there's no service delivery, the problem becomes the councillors of the ANC, who are seen not to be delivering. So that's why we do have an interest, because most of the councillors in the province or in all these regions are councillors of the ANC. And they are the ones who have problems with our voters. So in simple terms, we are looking at Tshwane. We believe there will be changes in Tshwane in no time. And we are engaging with Action SA and all other parties about Tshwane and its future. And the national office is aware of what I'm telling you. but we have not concluded anything at this point. We negotiate and engage up until at the end. And I think on numbers, I'm sure, like I've explained, we're engaging with all the parties. So the numbers are there. The numbers are there, and we know exactly what needs to happen for us to get where we need to go. The issue of regaining the lost ground was at the center of our Lekgotla. It was the main issue, to be honest with you. We have been building branches for conferences, and we must accept that. And we have accepted it as Gauteng. That you go to a branch and you find really 5 people who are actively working for the branch, because most of the time, and I'm saying most branches, not all, most branches that are there have been really for conferences, and we need to change that attitude. And the recruitment we're talking about, that's why we speak about the quality membership as well, not only about numbers. Because this recruitment must also look at sectors, those who can come and contribute positively in rebuilding this ANC. We will go to branch by branch from the first region till the last. We're starting that work from this week. We're not going to stop for the next 6 months. We're not preoccupied with conferences, because we are very clear that those are the things that are dividing us. The slate politics have been very dangerous to the ANC. In fact, they have damaged the ANC, and we accept as the province, and that's our diagnosis on the matter. We're saying that if Comrade Panyaza is contesting Buche, and Comrade TK is contesting Buche, after Comrade TK has lost that chairperson position, why can't he then contest for deputy chair? Or why? If he's got potential, if comrades agree that this comrade can do that. Those are some of the things we're looking at, because we've agreed on this late politics for some time, and they've really collapsed us, because you lose a lot of quality leaders from national till the branch because of slate politics. They've damaged us, and those are some of the things we're talking about. So before we even launch branches, go to BGMs, we'll do workshops VD by VD, where we're going to speak about the formation of the ANC and what is the ANC, educate people about this organization, because we have to go to the ground. And of course, we'll do a lot of sectoral work. We have that responsibility to go and rebuild our movement. We have been infiltrated, we know that, in some of these areas. So of course we have a responsibility to clean our data, but we have a responsibility to bring in people that will be able to assist the ANC moving forward, because we have lost people over time. So it's not a very simple program we must embark on. It's a very intense program that we would want all branches and all members of the ANC to accept, to be part of, and we go and really rebuild the ANC from the ground. And that is going to be a lot of work for us. On public conduct, really, we're just speaking to all members of the ANC. We do have a policy on social media, including how a member of the ANC carries themselves. We're just speaking about issues of discipline generally in the ANC. Because part of rebuilding a strong organization, we have to look at discipline. You can't have an organization, and people wanting to disrespect the ANC, including the province. That's why where we are, we know that we have never disrespected anybody. At all times, we follow protocols of the ANC. That's why we are also emphasizing to our branches and leaders of the movement that it is time we are working in one line and protect the organization. So we're just emphasizing on issues of discipline, really. And of course, the program that I've just explained to you will be able to help us in doing so. Monitoring and evaluation is a very critical tool, because now it is the ANC that must do that work. Of course, Comrade Panyaza as a premier will be doing that work. at the government level, but the province, but the ANC itself must monitor the deployees of the ANC. If we have agreed with our people that this is what we will do, we must you must be held accountable as a deployee of the ANC. We said in the next 6 months, this is what we'll do. We are going to meet with them quarterly and give the reports to the national leadership of the ANC. So it's part of what we are doing when we are speaking about this renewing of the ANC. On the illegal immigrants, I want to tell you, the Lekgotla was very much strong on that issue because it is affecting us. We have towns that have been taken over by illegal immigrants. We have buildings that have been taken over by illegal immigrants. And there's this province that affects us directly. And we're saying illegal immigrants because people, once you speak about this subject, it becomes a xenophobic subject. Because we are not playing in that terrain. We will reclaim our Johannesburg. That's why you see us supporting and very excited about Comrade Dara coming in. Part of the responsibility that we gave him is to go and reclaim Johannesburg as a city. Reclaim the buildings that are hijacked, the buildings of this country that are hijacked by illegal immigrants must be reclaimed. We must bring law and order in the streets of Johannesburg. As we would have heard, the Premier spoke about 2,800 law enforcement agencies that will be on the ground starting from the 1st of September. We are doing that purely because we need to bring confidence to people of this province that we are serious about issues of crime, but we are serious about issues of unemployment as well, because it is really affecting us. That's why we are pushing comrades who are deployed on whether we're speaking about Gauteng and so on, because you need infrastructure programs so that you can create employment, including investments, will come when they see that you are really fighting crime, but you are also very focused on what you are trying to do. So I would want to give it to the chairperson of the ANC what, please.
No,
Oh, I think I want to answer one question.
Yeah.
That comes. No, my
Thank you so much for the questions. Mashudi, let me start with you. You know, there's this perception that if a government of provincial unity does not include the DA, it's not a government. Or if it's a government, it's a corrupt government. We want to dispel that. It's a wrong assessment, and it should not be encouraged. And by extension, there is this narrative that has been planted that Gauteng defy national leadership in terms of establishing government. You will see in all the governments that we've established in the province and in municipalities, we have never done that without the go-ahead of the national leadership. Actually, the establishment of this government in this province was a decision of the national office bearers. So we had to go to the national office bearers to request permission. So the national office bearers gave us the permission to establish government of provincial unit in Gauteng. So it's not my decision or the decision of the ANC in Gauteng. I think that should be dismissed because we understand that the ANC is a unitary movement. We're not a federal movement. So the national leadership has to. But also in the last NEC, all governments of provincial unities were presented in the NEC, and all of them, the NEC accepted that this is the government that has been established thus far, including the Gauteng government. So we are not working out of the ordinary or out of the framework of national leadership. And we want to emphasize that point because you are right, those that criticize us, normally they miss this point. They think that we are doing things on our own, hence a call that we should be disbanded, which is something that is not only misplaced, even our Lekgotla discussed it, that we must accept that all of us collectively as the ANC, we have not performed. We have reached 40%. It can't be where it's good, provinces must be praised. Where it's bad, provinces must be condemned. All of us, and Gauteng leads, we accept that we have not done as anticipated. But we ran our own poll. From our own poll, because we're polling every 3 months. And a month before the elections, we're polling every day. And we knew, and our poll was just accurate. Our poll told us that you won't go beyond 36%. And we use the poll to unleash all forms of services and support that the poll indicated. Issue of unemployment, issue of crime, issue of transformers, so we went at length to try to address those issues. That is why the Lekgotla appreciated that, but urged us to continue with those programs, so that we don't stop purely because we've been punished through elections. So I felt that we need to declare that. Pule, we have numbers in Tshwane, but we don't want to rush, and that has been our approach. The political parties that come to us excited, are we say Musa pela pela? No, we don't work that way. We analyze literally everything. I mean, take Johannesburg. Even outside Action SA, we would have won that municipality on our own with our own organization. But you need to be sure that you win everyone. Check Ekurhuleni. All political parties agreed with our candidate because we work very hard to persuade political parties. So with Tshwane is still fresh. Indeed, the provincial secretary naturally alerted our national leadership that there is this potential, guide us, but we are still doing our own work. The party that received the highest votes in Tshwane is the ANC, not any other organization. The party that received the highest votes in Tshwane is the ANC. But obviously we are not in government, and therefore we need to work closely. And ever since we have established a government of provincial unity, there are many political parties that have come closer to us. You are quite aware that the IFP was not part of government of local unity in Johannesburg. The IFP is there. And it's part of the work that we have done. Beside DA, if I'm not wrong, beside the DA, all political parties in Johannesburg voted for Dada Morero. A significant shift that all your political analysts misses every day. They don't even have a grasp of behind the scene and the hard work that we do with all political parties. We are fortunate in Gauteng that majority of political parties believe in us. Majority of political parties across the ideological lines feel that they must consult with us on many issues. And that kind of rapport have assisted us to stabilize government in our province. So we are confident that by the time we are ready to talk about Tshwane and how we'll manage Tshwane, we'll be in a position to share with you. But we just want to confirm that the debate and the discussion is on the table, and we are considering it the way we want to consider it. I hope I've responded to you, Alpha, as well on Action SA. They obviously, every political party wants to say this is our interest. And I've cautioned political parties that you can't find us having a certain relationship. When you come to join this relationship, you want to rattle everything. It does not work that way. When you join, we must orientate you first on how this relationship works, so that you understand your role in the broader relationship. Indeed, it's common knowledge that Action SA have requested to fill the mayoral speaker candidate for Johannesburg, something that all those that are part of government of local unity are going through the discussions about it. So that's how we work, and that's how we attend to these issues. Well, our monitoring and evaluation, I think Comrade Pierce indicated that we are now transporting it from the ANC. The ANC feels that at certain quarters or phases, we must convene all our MECs and HODs and say that this is the commitment that we gave you, how far are you? And we really believe that it will assist us. We are also doing that in government. I will be in a position to monitor all the MECs and also attend to all the issues that have been raised by the ANC about how we need to work and attend to all the issues that need our immediate attention. So we have lost voters, but it's something, as you said, that has never happened where we were losing votes. But if you check the history of KZN, I always refer that particular history. It's one province that we lost at the word go when under the new democratic dispensation in 1994. But it came back. The ANC managed to lead that. You go to local government in the Free State, there are some municipalities that were won. We went to by-election, the ANC won them back. So it can't be a general statement that where we've lost power. Indeed, but at the highest level, national election and provincial elections, there have been some limitations there, and we just need to ensure that we attend to those limitations and attend to the concerns. Further to that, Sisanda, it's just that we have to accept that this punishment was severe. We went through this punishment in local government in 2016. We thought we'd recover ground in 2021. It was worse. Now it has come to the province. Hence, the Lekgotla spent time to say what are the things that we need to change immediately so that we don't work and find ourselves in this difficult situation. So we are starting now to prepare for 2025, 26 local government elections. We've taken decision that our election structures must be permanent, not part-time. We've taken decision on and evaluated on our volunteers. We've taken decision of messaging. We really felt that we are very bad at messaging. We have one message for everything, whereas society is segmented, and we need to accept that segmentation of society. So, Mr. Jones, is not to lose ground, but it's for us to work on our messaging heavily and repackage it in a manner that it is relevant. But also, let's be honest, the voice of the ANC within the social networks just died. I mean, even yourself, you struggle to check who's a commentator or an analyst that is pro-ANC. You struggle because we've been not doing well in that space. We've not been doing well in social movements. I mean, you take what Operation Tutula is doing in Johannesburg or in Soweto now. It's outside any relationship with any political party. And you find that we've got what councillors there who lead that particular wards or various wards. So we felt that we need to bring back the social movements, and there are lots of them. They are unmobilized, sometimes they are anti-government, but sometimes they raise genuine issues. And their proximity to a ruling party may convince them to want to work with us, and the constituencies that they serve may feel that the government is responding. So you will see the segmentation of voters will play a critical role, and that's the area that we feel will assist us to regain lost ground. SABC, you know, the issue of land invasion, you may associate it with poverty, you may associate it, it's a syndicate controlled by, I mean, we made an analysis, we unleashed lots of, because we don't want to intervene in a sector because it sounds good. We invest resources first before we can enter that space. That serious indicates that sell land. That serious indicate that make huge amount of money after they've invaded land, where people are told to make contribution monthly and all this. There are many things that are happening there. So our intervention is influenced that it affects children that stay in those areas. Can't invade a land where there's no school, for example, there's no clinic. How will those people survive? So we are looking at it in that particular fashion. Indeed, the issue of water shortage, it's something that I had to summon all the executive mayors 2 days ago to say this is completely unacceptable. We must not behave that we don't know there will be summer in December or September. We must not behave as if we don't know there will be winter in May next year. And we want to plan in the middle of those seasons when we know the challenges that are ahead. And indeed, 37% of our water is either stolen or there are leakages that need to be sorted out. That affects many communities. But we're excited now. We've established a joint committee between provincial government, Rand Water, and municipalities, where all the issues can be attended and be resolved there. In the State of the Province address, if you go to the first page, if not the second page, I spent almost 13 minutes on our electricity intervention. It's unmatched, unparalleled. Within 6 months, we gave this province 100 megawatts. Within 6 months, we removed clinics, 5 schools, district offices from the main grid. Within 6 months, we gave communities that didn't have transformers, 475 or so transformers. So the load reduction that some communities are going through, it's a relationship between the municipality, ESCOM, and also some of the service providers. So our argument has been very simple, that we can contribute to assist, but some of these things need municipalities to attend to it. And you're right, some people might not know the function of the municipality, the function of provincial government and national government. We intervened because our research was showing us that this thing of electricity is really harming the ANC. And it's on that score that we intervened. And we'll continue to intervene because it was a blind spot that was not attended. But obviously, we are on top of cloud 9, that there's no load shedding countrywide. We hope it will be sustained, and we hope that it will be kept that way so that we don't have problems. The argument that people are putting in formal settlement because they are far from where they work may sound good, but I don't agree. You see where people are putting in formal settlement now, it's not even closer to where people work, except in strategic areas where people have taken that decision. We have a solution with this government. We're the first government post-1994 to put houses, new houses, and after fierce resistance, you go to Randburg, there is a community called Cosmos City. So it's mixed housing next to farms, which was our model of post-apartheid township, that the post-apartheid township should be like Cosmos City. It's just that there is fierce resistance where people will prefer not to have this kind of settlement next to where they stay. But you pass through the freeway where ESCOM is, what they call that park, Megawatt Park. You find the informal settlements there. So you can't dismiss your point. But the problem is that people start to establish an area as if they're dealing with waste management, and later on it moves from waste into a permanent. And we just need to find a way of managing it, and that's why we've released what we've released in terms of monitoring land invasion. Listen, our lifestyle audit started with politicians. I don't understand why people don't know that, because we released that information. The lifestyle audit in this province started with politicians. I went through the lifestyle audit. Very invasive, I must be honest, where I need to declare things that I never thought I would declare in my life. How many people warmed my heart before I became the MEC, and where they stay. I still have connection with them, their ID number. You know, just imagine going to a former girlfriend and say, can you give me your ID number, man? That's how deep these things are. We did them. So when we came in, when I became the premier, there were only 4 MECs that we elected that we knew. We asked them to go through lifestyle audit. So their report is also going to come. So we can't force the 3 MECs that are coming from other political parties. So if they want to go through lifestyle audits, they will. But we've done it. I've got my own report that indicates areas where improvement is needed or records are needed and all other things. So we have that. So any illusion, and I've seen the Democratic Alliance when we said, because we said we start with politicians and we'll go to officials. We've concluded politicians, we are now with officials. They say, no, go back to politicians. Because ours is intense. I mean, I always argue, and I told the DA in one of the debate, they say the Western Cape, of which they just hired a private company, they say the Western Cape lifestyle audits are more intense than ours. Some of you know a gentleman called Matikizela who is academic qualification that intense lifestyle audit could not pick up. So we don't want to appoint private company. We say we want the state, secret services, the state, because they can get access to our SARS records, they can get access to our bank accounts, they can get access to deeds office, and they've done that. They've done that on all of us. So the current MECs, bar the 3 MECs or 4 MECs that came after I became a premier, who also have gone through lifestyle audit, are just waiting for their reports. So all of us have gone through that process, including the executive, and that's the reason why we were relieved that we've concluded, because that's a difficult one. The HODs, the CEOs of agencies, that's the most difficult one. So I'm pleased that that is done now. We've got the report. We want legal advice, whether when you release it, we release with their names, the ID, what kind of information, because there's a POPI Act, I'm told, that those kind of things. So that by the time we release this information, we release it in a responsible manner. So indeed, the key performance areas of our executives, I said in the next 100 days, we will release the performance agreements so that you know what are the areas that we have. But I can tell you, if you can't fight crime, if you can't reclaim Johannesburg CBD, if you can't put concrete proposal on how the new Alexander Township must look like, if you can't put a plan on how informal settlement need to be managed, and if you can't ensure that our people get jobs in terms of the big infrastructure announcement that they've made. I mean, we work flat out to convince these companies to come back and invest. There are others that have shown us the middle figure to say, no, we don't want to come to Gauteng, rather go to Northwest, to Western Cape, or Limpopo. But those that have agreed to work with us, we want to thank them. So the expansion of the Gauteng to Springs, to Soweto, Atteridgeville, it's our bid to rejuvenate the economy of Gauteng, just to restart the economy of Gauteng. Because that's a massive investment. That's 120 billion that we are taking from the private sector to come and invest here. And this is not, and I've seen others say, Lesotho's plans are pipe dreams. This is not a pipe dream. The bid to construct these roads, the bid to contract this railway line is closing now in October. The bid, we have invited companies to bid who are saying we are bringing this money. So it's an indication that we can turn the situation around in terms of the economy. I'm glad our provincial secretary responded on the so-called public spurt between ourselves, but we have not excluded anyone from the Executive Council, whether it's from Sedibeng or West Rand. Reality, we lost. This is not an ANC government. This is a government of. If it was an ANC government, it will indeed balance gender, balance regions, balance all these things. But when you lose, unfortunately, we have to. So, but we have balanced it. For example, you said there's no West Rand in the Executive Council. I know the Deputy Minister of Sport, the Deputy of Gauteng McKenzie, comes from West Rand because we couldn't accommodate here. We felt let's accommodate somebody at national. If you check the committees, I'm not sure Boise still chair the communication committee. Come from West Rand. To send the committee setup of Parliament, please accommodate West Rand. We can't accommodate them as CDBN, for example. We took Bones Modise, who was who was our member of Parliament here. We took him to NCOP to represent the constituents of CDBN. So representativity must not necessarily be at the executive level only here. With the setback that we had, we have to balance it across all sectors, and our branches have accepted that. They understand that it's unfortunate another thing. Where we are, we really believe that Dunga matter of Ekurhuleni has been attended. There are areas where we're not happy ourselves as the province. We've engaged the region. There are areas where the EFF was not happy. They've engaged us. But on the basis of that understanding, it didn't stop for us to get Dada Morero, the executive mayor of Johannesburg. So we are still engaged. We're worried, and I said it when I was opening the Lekgotla, that the departure of Floyd, because we're engaging with him at that level, hopefully the EFF will second somebody who will continue to negotiate with us on some of these aspects, so that we don't leave these things hanging. However, the informal settlement is a very, as I said, it's not about crime, it's about dignity. That is why we elevated it as one of our priority areas. That we can't just have a country of informal settlements. But you can't, when you resolve this informal settlement, a new one is being established, really. Then it defeats the purpose. So we really believe that we've got the highest number of informal settlements, like more than any other province probably. We need to start to engage. We committed when we started this government that we want to be a generation that eliminates informal settlement rather than be a generation that builds informal settlement. So we are working very hard. It's not about crime. It's more about dignity and the things that we need to do. Well, it's not about recruitment of new members to save the ANC. The tool that we took and presented yesterday covered literally everything, from economics, social development, whatever that we felt that we needed to. So we can't say to claw back or to win back election we need new members. But recruitment is the lifeblood of any political party. You can't discard that element. So we can work on it. But people that, and I think the PS also covered it correctly, people that are illegal in our country and undocumented in our country, honestly speaking, they are causing serious, deep concern to our communities. And our communities have been tolerant. And our communities have never been anti-foreigners. The problem is that there are acts that have brought discomfort in our communities. I mean, what is happening in Soweto, we've been discussing it with the PS and the leadership of Soweto. I want to go to Soweto to address and meet with Operation Tudula, sponsorship owners, just to find an everlasting solution, because we really believe if we can get it right, who knows, may assist us across the province. But these are the things that we need to attend, these are the things that we need to resolve, and these are the things that we have to attend to them to take Gauteng forward. But overall, where we are as the ANC, scared of misdiagnosing the problem, but excited that we really believe we've identified areas where the ANC can reclaim lost ground, and that we will look forward to the visit of the NWC to our province as well, like they are in the KZN, and then we'll be in a position to engage with our branches from this week. And on the basis of that, we really believe that we can take this province forward. We're excited that even the last quarter labor report indicated this is the province, amongst the provinces that have created more jobs. So we are on the right track, but there are stubborn challenges that are refusing to go. And one of it that I must be honest, I'm impatient and I'm very angry towards it is the level of crimes and level of corruption and the level of vandalism and lawlessness in our province. Just can't have people taking down traffic lights as they wish. You can't just have a society where professionals that need to conduct traffic are not there. You find somebody, you don't even know who's this person at the middle of a major road interchange conducting traffic. You know, that just sheer lawlessness. And I'm very impatient on those matters, and I've addressed it with the mayors, and hopefully they will listen so that we can attend to it. Those are small things that send a wrong signal. Just imagine in the middle of a road there conducting traffic. Can you see? You know, so we really need to bring order on those aspects. But we want to thank you for coming and appreciate your presence. The PS of the ANC is available for post this briefing interviews in your studios, one-on-one. So he said have set aside this evening. Yes, set aside this evening for those kind of engagement, your talk shows, Alpha. So utilize him and take advantage of his kindness. Yeah, thanks, no problem.
Just for clarity on the Ekurhuleni conference?
No.
We are not focusing on conferences.
In Johannesburg, does that mean that Ekurhuleni won't happen? And it already made.
We are not focusing on conferences. If there's an issue of Ekurhuleni and their term, that will be resolved. There's no issue. We all come from elections. We know that. So their focus was not for now to go to conference. It was for the elections. So we will deal with the issue of Ekurhuleni with national just to make sure that they comply. Very, very important. But outside of that, our focus is to build the ANC honestly. It's not about conferences. A conference will come, but it must be that we have passed a certain milestone. We have really started to rebuild the ANC honestly. Because if you can take them to conference, you are rest assured you know what's going to happen. They'll be divided even more.
So even Joburg must be put on ice for May. That's what you're saying.
For what?
On ice.
Next year May.
We're not in a rush for conference. We're not. We have to build a movement honestly.
I'll remind you of this next year.
No.
Sorry.
You can go to a Politics podcast.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You'll remind me.
Very well. Just one last question around your irritation with corruption. There's been a series of articles around Johannesburg Secretary and the treasurer of the Johannesburg region and their proximity to agencies of the COJ. Has there been a discussion around that? Are you concerned at all around possible nepotism, family members being allowed into different positions and them controlling entities? Maybe Guardian even talked about a resolution by the REC that its members must form part of entities of Johannesburg.
Trying to respond to that, I think.
There can't be any resolution like that.
Yeah.
There can't be a resolution by a regional leadership saying the leadership must be chairpersons of entities. Even when we heard about it, we told them, take this thing back, it is wrong.
So you knew about it?
We heard about it, we called them and we told them, this resolution is not right. You can't have a resolution like this. It's a wrong resolution. And of course, they went to the REC. They made sure that they take it out because you can't take a decision like that. It's a wrong decision in all accounts. But outside of that, you spoke about regions, for instance, faceless people, right? Earlier on. And I'm sure the chair tried to attempt to answer you, and I don't know why, because we can't speak about faceless people, honestly. Regional leaders complaining in Western and City Bank, there is nothing like that. It doesn't exist, but we understand that it is very important to try and show a divided ANC. For me to sit here, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying generally. No, but I'm saying it could be some person sitting in the corner and decide to make a call. We engage with our regions, and they know on all matters. And we are not scared of taking issues head on as this leadership of the province. So, Melly and Guardian, whoever wrote the story, must be able, when there's corruption, report it. Report corruption. Say, this one has done this, this is the brother. Don't bring things that can't be tested anyway, and they become a point of discussion. The secretary of the ANC does monitoring and evaluation. I engage the chair and everybody at the level of the ANC. I have to do that, especially those who are deployed by the ANC. But you don't go at the level of interfering in government and its operation.
It's actually under investigation, what we're
Yeah, well, if that's under investigation, let's wait for those investigations. I don't know of such. I've never been briefed about the nepotism that is claimed.
I'm more concerned than TK that such serious allegations.
Marakabu Wamos.
Sorry.
CD.
Podcast. You know,
Podcast. When are you, me and you, let's do a podcast.
Podcast. We can have this kind of discussion. Podcast.
Yeah, well, because.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think we will follow that up. But I've not heard about it. I've not seen such investigations. But I'm just hoping that it's not done to discredit certain comrades, because most of the time we leave others and speak about others for a reason.
Well, another point that sadly, I don't know how we missed it. You're quite aware that a member of our Provincial Working Committee, Lekgotla, lost his daughter. His son, sorry. So we went as a PC yesterday to comfort him, and we wish the family and Lekgotla strength during this difficult period. The funeral is on Saturday. We will continue to visit the family and provide support as the ANC. Can we end here?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
See, you don't want to ask another question?
Podcast. No, I can come tomorrow. I don't mind. Is that tomorrow we're debating my software?
But all the song. You realize that you made a commitment to me, you'll come through.
I can come. Speak to the season.